You have spent your entire life trying to gain the approval of other people. Everything you do is determined to get other people's acceptance and approval. You talk the way you do in order to get other people's acceptance and approval. You dress the way you do in order to get other people's approval. You do certain things in life, some things you wouldn't even want to do, but you do them because you want the approval of other people. And you've been trying to gain approval your entire life, and you're never going to get it.
God put people in your life for a reason. Others are there for a season. And it's very important that you recognize when people's seasons are over. Is the season over? Or have you decided, because you're desperate, you've decided to drag these random people into the new season of your life? Because you just need validation. You need all of this shit and people and things around you.
So it's very important that we not compare ourselves with other people and that we don't go by how we feel. You don't have to feel confident to present yourself in a confident manner. To hold your head up and to boldly go and do whatever it is that you feel like you need to do. When you talk to people, don't mumble. When you talk to people, look at them. We need to realize that God wants us to be bold and aggressive in a right way, not obnoxious.
Too often, we base our value on how someone is treating us, how perfect of a life we've lived, how successful we are. The problem is, all of those things can change. If you're getting your value out of how people treat you, then if they hurt you, they disappoint you, you're going to feel devalued. If you're basing your value off of your achievements, what you drive, how much you make, the title behind your name, then if something happens and you don't have that position, then your value will go down.
I don't need the approval of other people, and it sets you free. I don't need other people's approval to be happy.
So if there's any area in your life that you need to clean up, start working on it. Get the clutter out. Start letting some of this junk go to make some room for something else. Do that with people. There's some people who's cluttering up your life. They serve no purpose whatsoever. They're just holding and occupying a space that somebody useful could be holding that space. You don't even have time to look to see what else is out there because you all have all of these people surrounding you that's not enabling you to grow.
There's 86,400 seconds in a day. The separator between me and you and people that win and lose is what we do with those seconds. I want to look in the mirror and be happy with the man I look back at, that he gave it everything, that he went for it.
You've got to focus on you. And as you convince you, you will begin to see a difference in the things that you're doing. Selling yourself on your ability to perform a job. Telling yourself every day, here I go again. This is my day, and nothing out here is going to stop me.
I have an opportunity, I have a choice to decide who and what and where I want to go. What do I want to experience in my day? Because you're calling me doesn't mean I'm going to call you back. Because you're inviting me doesn't mean I want to show up. Because we're family, because we're friends, because we grew up together doesn't mean that I want to be a part of any and everything that you want me to be a part of. Why? Because my experience with you hasn't necessarily made me feel good about my life or my experience at the end of every night.
The more you love yourself, the more you believe in yourself, the more you focus on your own intention, the less you have concern with getting that acknowledgement and recognition from other people. The words out of their mouth are about you, but what they're really thinking about is them. The more you begin to understand this, you really stop spending so much energy on worrying about what other people think about you. In other words, your own acknowledgement, your own character, your own belief in yourself supersedes what anyone else could ever say about you.
Success is a very basic process. It doesn't have any mysteries. It doesn't fall out of the sky, nor does it fall into the realm of the miraculous. Success is a natural result that comes from the consistent operation of the practical fundamentals. To be successful, you don't have to do extraordinary things. Just do ordinary things extraordinarily well.
Quit feeling inferior because somebody close to you is not celebrating you. Quit trying to make people be for you that are never going to be for you. If you needed their approval, you would get it. If you're not getting it, that means you don't need it to become who you were created to be.
Some of you have spent all of your life trying in your mind to please an unpleasable person.
If your life is not reaching an expected end, do you have the courage to test your systems? Is it the way you speak, the way you understand, or the way you think that is stopping you from becoming what God would have you be?
Why would you walk in the opposite direction of your dreams? The man wishes for happiness and thinks the thoughts and commits the acts that take him to certain despair. Failing in life is failing to think today, failing to care, to climb, to learn, to keep trying day by day. What have you got to lose? Only the despair and fear and guilt of the past. So start the new process. You can begin a new habit no matter how small it is. Whether or not you start and whether or not you continue are all that is important. Recognize that the start of the better life, the happy life, is today. Start the new journey today. Get some momentum going on your new commitment to the better life.
Do you love yourself enough? For a lot of people out there, that's what holds them back in life. So whatever your goal is, you're gonna come to a time when you're gonna have to stop counting on other people to help you. And you're gonna have to stop focusing in on how much people have let you down. And you're gonna have to really realize, like, this thing, life, your journey, this is up to you. And whatever you want out of it, it's how bad are you willing to go after it.
I don't have the luxury to waste time. I'm expecting some great things from life. And so I have to spend some time working on myself and developing myself. Some people wish they could do better, but some people expect to do better. Where are you on that? Take care of you. Look out for what truly satisfies you. Make caring for you the highest priority in your life. We're not taught to look out for ourselves. We're not taught to take care of ourselves. So make a conscious effort. Make you number one priority. Your health is more important than your family and any and everybody. Don't neglect yourself.
Happiness is a joy that most often comes as a result of positive activity. It is a result of an awareness of the full range of life. Happiness is being able to explore the offerings of life. Happiness is both receiving and sharing, reaping and bestowing. Happiness is activity with purpose. Happiness is freedom from the negative children of fear, such as worry, anger, low self-esteem, envy, greed, and so on. Happiness is contentment with the tasks of your life. It's love in practice. Happiness is both a grasp of the obvious as well as an awe of the mysterious.
Success, guys, is a very, very lonely road, man. Very few people are willing to endure pain, the sacrifice, and diligence to be successful. It's an uphill battle. And along that road, you're not going to see too many friends. You're going to see your shadow most often. You got to trust in the heart of hearts. Inside what you're doing, what you believe in, is a worthy cause, a winnable fight. See, the thing is, for many people, they've tried the same path you're on, and they failed. As you walk this journey, you're going to see carcasses all over the place of people that didn't quite have it. It should inspire you because you got further than that person and that person. But you're not looking to get further than them, you're looking to finish.
The
fact of the matter is, not everybody who is giving you feedback is necessarily a hater or necessarily antagonistic to you. See, sometimes they're just giving you feedback. Sometimes they're just concerned. You need to learn to distinguish between criticism, concern, and feedback. And they are three completely different things.
And I wonder how many people today are watching this message right now and you're trying to do it like someone else, you're trying to be just like somebody else, you're just a copycat and you're wondering, how come I feel stuck? How come I can't move forward? I got a feeling, why don't you shed off that other person's armor and why don't you walk it out the way God called you to walk it out?
I am strong, I am talented, I am healthy, I am valuable. Those are not just positive affirmations. You just invoked a blessing on yourself. When you speak it out, you give life to what you're saying. It's not enough to just think this. You don't bless yourself by just dwelling on positive thoughts. Nothing happens until you speak.
And what you believe about what you can be, and what you believe about what you have inside of you, and what you believe about what God called you to do, and what you believe about what you're going through. That's what I'm talking about. The currency of confidence. So when you're young, you start borrowing confidence from the wrong places. You borrow confidence from sexual attractiveness. Partner after partner after partner after partner. And rather than ever being in a real relationship, the good part, where you have to love somebody for who they are, not what they look like, you take this feeling of, oh, I have somebody, and you borrow the confidence of having somebody. But when you borrow confidence from the wrong places, the interest rate is ridiculous. I'm talking about when you get in a relationship where you have to compromise your values to get your needs met, y'all, that's worse than the check cash in place. It's an interest rate. And let me tell you another thing. While I got you fired up about all the people that you kept going to because you wanted them to validate you, but they can't because they're not God. They didn't make you. They don't know you like that. And they have their own insecurities. So leave them alone and get it from God. You keep trying to borrow confidence from people who have insufficient funds. They can't do it. They can't.
As a man, if my father was married to my mother for 30 years, I'll find myself looking for someone that reminds me of my mother, because that would be my point of reference. I will find myself trying to do all the things that I witnessed my father do as a husband. That's my point of reference. If my father is successful, he's an entrepreneur, he's constantly grinding, starting up new companies, negotiating, and I see him inspired and motivated all the time about life and career and trying to educate himself and further his way up the success ladder. That will become my blueprint and my point of reference for success. And I'll find myself wanting nothing more than to be a duplicate of my father, because that is my successful point of reference. Have you become a duplicate of your mother? Have you become a duplicate of your father? Have you become a duplicate of your parents, of your environment? See, I believe that we were all born individuals. God made me an individual. My head is not connected to anybody else. I am my own man. God made me individually me, so I can do and be and become anything I want to become. What is your point of reference?
The invisible is often more real than the visible. That sometimes the stuff that we collect, that we say is real, is less real than the stuff that we neglect because we can't see it. I'm talking about your state of mind. I'm talking about your relationships with others. I'm talking about the way that you process disappointment, those things, the way that you treat people who can't do anything for you, those things. You have this visible kingdom world, but there is an invisible kingdom within you that is more important than the kingdom around you.
Set your life on fire and seek those who fan your flames. Don't be hanging with no jank-ass jokers that don't help you shine. The prerequisite for spending time with any person is that they nourish and inspire you. They feed your flame. There's been very few times in my life that I looked left or looked right and didn't find a person who believed and supported me. There's always been a person beside me fanning my flames. Look at your last 5 text messages. Are those people feeding your flames or dousing your fire? The people that you spend time with are going to make or break your dreams. Everybody don't deserve to be around you. Look to the people around you. Are those people throwing logs on your fire or are they pissing on it? You got to defend your light with your life.
Credit goes to our awesome patrons who make videos like this one possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell button to get notified when our new videos are released. And as always, thank you for watching.
Probably one of the most frustrating experiences in life is looking for an above-average job with above-average pay without becoming an above-average person. It's called frustration.
Whenever people fail to achieve their goals 99.9% of the time, and you ask them why, they'll tell you it's because of a lack of resources. That's what all these things are. I didn't have the support, right? I didn't have the money, we didn't have the time, we didn't have this, we didn't have that. There's a resource that people believe is missing. And that resource belief structure then keeps people from ever being able to really lead. Because what leaders do is they find a way to maximize whatever resources they have, as little as they may be, and they don't believe in limited resources. What are the emotions that make all this possible? What's the fuel that takes an idea from being in your head where you intellectually know what to do? How many have had an idea, for example, was a great idea, you're excited about it, and then you didn't do anything. One day, there you saw it on the shelf, you saw it somewhere else, someone stole your idea. How many have had this happen? Say I.
Whenever you look at where you want to go, I'm wanting to warn you, you will have some conversation back here after you go through the data that you've experienced in life saying you can't do it. And so what you want to begin to do is ignore that inner conversation. Well, most people, ladies and gentlemen, when something happens to them, what they do is they begin to believe that that's the way it is. That's the way it's always been. And they can't see the possibility of it being any different.
What are you feeding on? Pay attention to what you're putting in your spirit. You're called to be an eagle, but sometimes we're acting like a chicken. Do you know a chicken will eat its own waste? A chicken feeds off of what's been discarded, off of what's supposed to be trash. Maybe that's why a chicken has wings, but it can't really fly. It holds on to what it should have released. You need to view the negative things in your life as waste. But you're not supposed to feed on it. It's over, you've been through it, you've eliminated it, now move on. Don't go back to what you've released. If you're always feeding off of what's been discarded, reliving old hurts, thinking about what you've lost, that's going to keep you from flying.
And I'm saying that if you know anybody that had some goal, some dream, something they wanted to do, and they did it, then I'm saying that you know in your heart that if someone has done it, then you can do it. It's possible. And that if someone can make their dream become a reality, that it's possible that you can make your dream become reality. And so as you begin to look at where you want to go, beginning to embrace that, it's possible. I'm blessed and highly favored. I've got a lot going for me. I got some good stuff in me. And it's possible that I can bring my greatness out here in the universe. That I can do what I want to do. It's possible I can write my own book. I can have my own business. I can take the trip and travel around the world. It's possible. I can bounce back from adversity and reinvent my life. It's possible. Regardless of where I am, the things can get better for me. It's possible.
What direction is your attitude taking you in your marriage, in your relationships? Are you kind, respectful, fun to be around? In your career, are you positive, being your best, helping others? Or do you need to make an adjustment? Don't wait till it's too late, till the relationship comes to an end, till the company says they don't need you anymore. Make the changes now. Get rid of anything you know that's holding you back. Being negative, finding fault, that old attitude doesn't smell good. It's going to taint you everywhere you go. This couple moved into a new neighborhood. One morning while they were eating breakfast, the lady looked out the window and saw her neighbor hanging the wash on the line to dry. And she noticed the wash was so dirty and so dingy. She said to her husband, "That neighbor doesn't know how to wash. The clothes aren't clean. She must not even use detergent." Week after week, she looked out this window and saw the clothes and made the same comments about how dirty the laundry was. One morning, she looked out the window and the clothes were as clean and bright as could be. She couldn't believe it. She called her husband in, said, "Look, she finally learned how to wash. I wonder what happened." The husband smiled and said, "Honey, I got up early this morning and cleaned our windows." The problem wasn't that the neighbor's laundry was so dirty. The problem was the window the lady was looking out was not clean. Many times, how dirty our neighbor's clothes are depends on how clean our window is. The scripture says, "To the pure, all things are pure." And if you're always finding fault, complaining about the traffic, critical of your spouse, may I suggest your window is dirty? The problem is not external, it's internal. You're looking through a tainted filter. At some point, we have to look in the mirror and say, maybe I'm the one that needs to change. Maybe I've developed a habit of seeing what's wrong rather than what's right. Maybe I've trained myself to be negative, disrespectful, hard to get along with. That's why it's so important every morning to put on this fresh, new attitude. I'm excited about this day. I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work. I'm grateful for this job. I'm not focusing on what's wrong. Lord, I want to thank you for what's right in my life. You know what you're doing? You're cleaning your windows.
Now, think of this for a moment. You and I have infinite potential. Now, I said before, I don't know how much infinite is. I just know it's a lot. Has no beginning and no end. That's the potential we've got. We've got all of this power. Yet, if you watch the way most people live, you would think that they were just about out of juice. A lot of people, when their heart stops beating, it's going to be a formality. I mean, they just sort of sit. They never really get it going. Yet, we have infinite potential. We're dealing with something pretty big. If we're going to find out something about ourselves, we have to look at this. You say, "This is over my head." No, it's not. I teach this to kids. I got it. This all tied into the science of getting rich. Rich resources are lying dormant within us. You and I are spiritual beings. There's only two sources of reference to go to find out anything about ourselves. One's science and the other's theology. You'll hear people say they're having a spiritual experience. They're not having a spiritual experience. They are spiritual. They're having a physical experience. We're spiritual beings living in physical bodies, and we've been gifted with an intellect. Most people really don't understand that part, but that's where the power lies, all right? And our emotional state is going to be determined by how we use our intellectual factors. Andrew Carnegie told Napoleon Hill, he said, any idea that's held in the mind, that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate physical form that's available. You see, Dr. J.B. Ryan said the mind is the greatest power in all of creation. Very few people understand it. If you go on our website, you just go to bobproctor.com, you'll see a quote there by Dr. John Mike, a psychiatrist from Florida. He said, I taught him more about the mind in 1 year than he'd learned in 4 years of medical school, 5 years of psychiatric training. And what I taught him was just what a Dr. Roeder taught me. I was always amazed by that. I thought, what do they teach you in medical school? You know, and what we're doing is getting in at the non-physical side of ourselves, and that's where all the power lies. It's a beautiful concept as we start to understand it. What do we need? We need understanding. You really want to change your income, you've got to change your understanding. Now, there's only two things you have to know to really make things happen big in your life. Number one, you have to know where you are, and number two, you have to know where you're going. Now, you see, most programs get you focused on where you're going. That's very important that we have a goal. You've got to know where you're going. But what happened to me that was totally different is Ray Stanford got me to focus first on where I was. He got me to look at what I was doing with my life, got me to take responsibility. He said, your results aren't bad and they're not good, they're just results. Nothing's bad or good except our thinking makes it so. He said, you have to ask yourself, are those the results you want? And I said, no. Well, he said, if you will pay attention and you'll do what I suggest, I can show you how to change it. You see? And my whole life started to change. Most people get us focused on the goal. If we don't know where we're at, we're not going to... Let's suppose we all bail out of a plane and safely land somewhere on the planet. Our objective is to get to this room. Now, we know where this theater is. We know where this room is. Our problem is we don't know where we are. Now, let's say it's overcast. We'll build a ridiculous situation. It's overcast. There's no street signs. There's no wind. There's no compass. There's no map. There's no people. But we know we're on the north. I mean, we could be in Milwaukee heading towards the Canadian border. We could be in Los Angeles heading towards Tijuana. You could be in Atlanta heading towards Miami. We could be right outside this theater and walk away from it. If we don't know where we are, it won't matter where you're going. So you see, we've got to take a good, honest look at ourselves. What am I doing? What works? What doesn't? Who am I? And as we really get a grip on this, everything in our world will begin to change. You see, what we're seeking always is greater awareness. We're always wanting to raise our level of awareness because our results are an expression of our level of awareness. And the only way to improve results is to increase our level of awareness. All right? Now, effective goals inspire us to move to increasingly higher levels of awareness. Now here, yes, what you'll find that people say they want. They want greater health, happiness, peace of mind. All these results are the result of a higher level of awareness. So it's awareness that we should be seeking. We want to raise this and everything else starts to happen. It happens like unadulterated magic. That's what happened to me and I couldn't understand it. Now there's a basic law that said everything in life is either growing or dying. It's either create or disintegrate. So you're never going to stay where you are. Your results are going to get better or they're going to get worse. It's create or disintegrate. No one stays where they are. Now the truth is, I think most people get a little better and a little worse. A little better and a little worse. When they get a little better, they're forcing it. But force negates. You see, there's something inside of you that's urging you to grow. This is the spiritual side of our personality. It's the essence of our being. And spirit's always for expansion and fuller expression. There's something in you that wants you to grow. If you run, you want to run faster. If you jump, you want to jump higher. If you sell, you want to sell more. This is good. It causes dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction is a creative state. My grandmother pretty well raised me, and she taught me that I should be satisfied with what I've got. Grandma was wrong. I should be happy with what I've got, but never satisfied. It's dissatisfaction that gave us the incandescent light. It's dissatisfaction that gave us air travel. It's dissatisfaction that gave us the internet. All those things were always here. People just became aware of them. Way to fly an airplane was always here. We can go all over the world now. We're not a long ways from anywhere. We're only a short period of time away. Well, there's something inside wanting us to grow. There's something else that's trying to stop us. And that's the old paradigm. Now, you've got the one side that wants you to grow and the other side that doesn't want you to grow. The old paradigm does not want you to grow. Anyone that has smoked and quit smoking, I used to smoke. I quit years ago. But I remember it wasn't an easy thing to do. It was not. Why? Because it was a habit. Habits are not easy to get rid of. Habits are ideas that are fixed in here that control us. Many of you have gone on diets. You want to lose weight. I'll just toss something in for your benefit. When you lose something, you're programmed to do what? To look for it. Get rid of the idea of losing weight. Release it. Release it. See yourself at your perfect weight, looking good and feeling great. Your whole life is controlled by images. Get the image of the body that you want to live in, of the world you want. Quit trying to lose weight. Just release it and see yourself the way you want to be.
What do successful people do that's different from other people?
Success leaves clues. If someone has done very well financially for decade after decade, they're not lucky. They're doing something different. If someone is fit and healthy and they've managed it for 20 years, they're lucky. They got a great relationship. They're not lucky.
One of the things that we find is that successful people, all of them, are very action-oriented. In other words, if they get an idea, they move quickly on it. If they learn something new, they try it out. Now people say, well, what if it doesn't work? Well, if it doesn't work, find out quickly. There's a rule, just try quickly and fail fast.
If somebody's wealthy and happy, you've got a list for things to change for you. You've got to change. Otherwise, it isn't going to change.
Resources are interesting, but the ultimate resources are the feelings of emotion that make you resourceful. Resourcefulness is the ultimate resource.
The wonderful thing is that you can't lose by trying something new. So if you were to take successful people, and there's many studies that have been done on this, if you could only look at them through a window and look at a group of people, look through the window, you could tell who the successful people are because they're always in motion. They're always trying more things. They're always active. Unsuccessful people are always waiting for everything to be just right. It's like waiting for a bus on a street where no buses go. They're still waiting. Where the bus never comes. Successful people are always taking action. So if all you do is just take more action, just get busier, you'll be more successful.
It's possible to do much better at the marketplace if you go to work primarily on yourself. Learning to work primarily on yourself. How do you develop an above-average income? And the answer is, become an above-average person. Develop an above-average handshake. Some people want to be successful, they don't even work on their handshake. As easy as that would be to start on. They let it slide, they don't understand. Develop an above-average smile. Develop an above-average excitement. Develop an above-average interest in other people. Develop an above-average intensity to win. See, that'll change everything.
If it's in your imagination, it's possible. Do you know that you can't think of something that can't happen? You know it's impossible to think of the impossible. It's not possible. So if you think it, it's possible. And if you live your life in possibilities instead of probabilities, you have a greater chance of finding happiness.
There's things in your life that are necessary, but they're unpleasant. Working out my legs is necessary, but it's unpleasant. Why is it necessary? Because it's the largest muscles in your body. See, what you learn is it's this thing called unintended consequences. You don't know what type of fight you gotta face on Tuesday. You don't know what your boss is gonna come and say on Friday. But thank God you've been putting in some work on the interior life that when you need to fight, you got some strength.
I'm the kind of person, if I'm going to do it, I'm all in. I'm the kind of person, I don't like being in between. I don't like to be at the back of the line. I want to be in the front of the line, and I'm going to prepare myself and work on myself to be a dominant voice. Take no prisoners, and like Mike Tyson, eat the wounded, starting at the ears.
Carefully consider how you live. So live wisely, not foolishly. Make the most of your time, because these are difficult, evil days. You need to have a routine. Now, when you're stuck at home, it's so easy to slip into sloppiness. I want you to write this down right now, okay? Write this down. Routine develops resilience.
Taking responsibility for whatever happens to you. Knowing that you have consciously made the decisions that are now affecting you. Knowing that what is happening now, today, is the direct result of your activity, what you did yesterday. Self-reliance is basically counting on yourself. Now, being self-reliant doesn't mean you can't work with others or trust others. Self-reliance means counting on yourself, trusting yourself, being confident with yourself, being responsible to yourself, trusting your own instincts. Trusting the conclusions that you have developed from your study of experiences and philosophies. Taking the credit that is due you. Learning from the mistakes that you have made, being self-reliant. Gestalt psychologists give an example of being self-reliant. They say that you're responsible for getting caught in the rain. They say that by deciding not to carry an umbrella every day, you have made the decision to endure an occasional drenching. Translation? By not being prepared, you make the choice of getting caught in some of life's unpleasant circumstances.
I've been riddled with self-doubt. That creeps up all the time in our lives. Am I enough? Am I good enough? Do I deserve this? These are two of the most chaotic things that the adversary can do to us, or that we do to ourselves in our own minds, is to get ourselves doubting, to get ourselves discouraged, because you can't win when you doubt, and you can't win when you're discouraged.
Happiness is freedom from the negative children of fear, such as worry, low self-esteem, envy, greed, anger, resentment, and so on. Happiness is an awareness and a grasp of the positive power of life and loving values. It is an order of thought, activity, and lifestyle. Happiness is values in balance. It is contact with people of substance.
There's another dimension, which is trait conscientiousness, which is integrity and dutifulness, orderliness, industriousness, openness, which is like a hybrid between intellect, intelligence roughly, and creativity. And so you can go there and find out how you compare to other people, and that's kind of interesting and useful, because it's kind of useful to know who you are, and to know that that's actually who you are, you know, that you have a nature.
Be they rain, failures, economic losses, relationship losses, professional losses, personal losses. By not being prepared, thinking ahead, it's your choice. Now here's the other side of it. By being prepared, you increase your chances of success. You increase the likelihood. By being prepared, you increase your chances of success, of seizing opportunities when they come your way, of being ready within yourself to take advantage of once-in-a-lifetime situations. Some people tend to blame others for their mistakes, blame others for their failures. Somebody says, it's not my fault the report isn't done. So-and-so didn't do their part. Of course it's your fault. It's your report too. It's your responsibility to see that everyone you delegated work to does their part. Now, you can't control what others around you do, but it's in your own best self-interest, your enlightened self-interest, that you stay on top of things, especially if it's going to affect your future. You think your boss cares that John didn't do his part? You think he sees John as the bad guy? Of course not. All he sees is that the report isn't done, bottom line. Be responsible for the things that affect you. You can make sure you're more responsible by checking in with those people who are working with you, the people who make up your team. You can be more responsible by saying, hey, John, how are you doing with your part? Do you need some help? Can we put somebody else in here to help you finish? Now, if John consistently doesn't handle his part, you've got to replace John. If he isn't doing his share, you've got to find somebody that will. Or what? It will negatively affect you. You can't wake up in the morning that the project is due hoping and wishing that John has done his part. No, you've got to be responsible because it's going to affect your career too. Now, my approach to my better future very early on in my career was to just go through the day with my fingers crossed. And I used to say something like, I sure hope things will change for the better. Then here's what I found out. They're not going to change. Somebody says, well then, how will my life ever change? Answer, when you change. When you change, when you get better, it'll get better. If you change, it'll all change. Don't put it on someone else. Hope that someone else will change it for you.
You have to be honest with yourself and truthful with yourself. And I think a lot of times what it is for me, I was expecting things from people that I wasn't giving to people. And so that's very selfish, you know? So I had to look at myself and say, you know what, this part of my personality needs to be changed. It needs to be fixed. So it's that reality that you have to have with yourself and that truthfulness and not knowing that it doesn't make you weak by admitting these things. It doesn't make you less by admitting these things.
Begin to know now that the night will pass, and as you learn to grow and progress, you will better understand how to handle every night and better live every day. Don't be afraid to face the facts of life. It is not negative to understand that the winters always come. Don't clip the word impossible out of the dictionary. Don't say, I don't want to hear the problem. I don't want to see the difficulty. Don't show me the weeds. Don't say anything negative. Only see the positive. That's foolish. There is a thin line between positive thinking and kidding yourself. And remember, there's also a thin line between faith and folly.
That's a powerful thing to understand because you weren't born this way. You weren't born doubting. You were born perfect. You were born believing you were going to do something great. You were born happy. You were born believing you were going to do something special with your life. As a baby, I promise you, you had no negative self-talk. You had no negative self-doubt. These are external sources. It's so important to know because those thoughts aren't really who you are.
If you've had a dream, I guarantee you, you were born with that dream woven into your DNA. You see, dreams are deeply personal. That's why you can be super little and be drawn to something like being a lawyer and have no explanation for why. And this is important for you to understand, because if you give up on your dream's gonna haunt you.
Take responsibility for yourself. Take personal responsibility. You can't change the circumstances or the seasons or the wind, but you can change your reading habits. You can change whether or not you go for the skills, burn the midnight oil, turn yourself around, multiply your value by 2, 3, 5, 10. That you've got charge of. That you have control of. You don't have control of the constellations, but you've got control over whether or not you go to night school, take adult classes, learn some new skills. You have control over that. And if you don't, that's your fault. You've got to take personal responsibility. You've got to be self-reliant. You. Nobody else can change your life, alter your ambitions, pave a golden road for you. But you can. It's up to you. Be responsible for yourself. Learn to reap the harvest without complaint. This is a sign of growing maturity. And here's where it comes from: taking full responsibility. Take full responsibility for everything you do. Be responsible to yourself. It's your crop. Whatever your paycheck is, take full responsibility. You say, well, it's my employer. No, it's not your employer. You can become twice as valuable, 3 times as valuable. Burn the midnight oil, learn some more skills, bring more value to the marketplace. I'm telling you, whatever your harvest is, take it without complaint. Take it without blaming others. Self-preparation leads to control over your life. We discussed this in the last session. Whenever you prepare correctly, taking all of the steps you're supposed to take, doing everything in your power to stay on track, whenever your preparations lead to success, achieving your goals, you reinforce the disciplines that got you there. Success leads to reinforcement of the proper disciplines. If what you're doing is working, keep doing it. If what you're doing isn't working, change it. When you are doing all that you can possibly do and are successful at reaching your expectations, keep doing it. Success is a reinforcement. Psychologists call this positive reinforcement. We all know about positive reinforcement. That's how we train our dogs. That's how we teach our kids. That's how the trainers at SeaWorld can get a killer whale to do tricks and follow commands and work side by side with humans. By positive reinforcement. When you bring a brand new puppy home and try to teach him not to mess in the house, what do? You reward him for going outside or scratching at the door. When you're trying to get your toddler out of the diaper stage, what do? You reward her with special presents, make her feel special for learning something new. When you're trying to get your older kids to crack the books and study, what do? You reward them when they get good grades. You teach them that the skills they are developing now will have great positive effects on their lives later. But you reward them now. This is positive reinforcement. Learning that there are rewards for doing something good, something worthwhile, something of value. The greater the value, the greater the reward. The better you do, the better your reward. The greater the value, the greater the reward. A bigger paycheck, a better house, financial freedom. It's all a reward system. Now, there are 2 major benefits of positive reinforcement. Number 1, positive reinforcement builds good habits. If what you are doing, the habits you've gotten into, are building your ambition and increasing your success, keep doing them. Your success is reaffirming that these habits are good. Your success tells you that you need to keep doing what you are doing. By reviewing these habits that bring on success, you reinforce them, give them sticking power.